Team Arena finally back online, and it's good to know that we're getting some regular programming going here. You guys should start most definitely, if not tuning in for the qualifiers for IPL 4, which, by the way, we've got some great players in those as well. You should almost assuredly tune in for Thursday's Team Arena and also Saturday's Fight Club. I mean, those are our two, main programming things right now that have a lot on the line. $500 respectively to either the team or to the player who takes the cake in either of those two events. And, hopefully in the future we'll have more events like that.
I suspect, though, that today we're going to see a lot of TVZ. It's we already know there's 4 Zerg players.
Which is fine by me.
One of them here in the top right-hand corner, that is ParanOid. He's spawning as our yellow Zerg player. He represents Team Acer. The opponent down in the bottom left-hand corner from Team SlayerS. It says short stuff. Well, it looks like someone was playing on this account. The sensitivity's really high. I'll change that for the next game. But we have SlayerS.Lots spawning as our purple Terran down here in the bottom left-hand corner, using that short stuff account that we've seen Alicia play.
Yeah, they're all over that short stuff account.
Yeah.
That's like it's the Village Bicycle of North American accounts. Just kind of rotates through all
short
the Koreans.
stuff gets around.
Exactly. Poor girl. I wonder if it's someone's actual account. But the SlayerS guys have been using some really cool builds against Zerg. Definitely been one of the more innovative teams in TVZ.
I was just about to say, and that doesn't even just apply to TVZ. Let's talk about TVT, man. Let's talk about MMA during the GSL finals, which I sat next to Jaedong, Bisu, and Fantasy watching the GSL finals.
You were texting me, you son of a bitch.
I
was like, where are you? What are you doing? And you're like, I'm with Dustin Browder, Bisu, and Jaedong.
Yeah, just look for them. You'll find me.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm in on the club. No, but
Whatever,
that was a way to watch the GSL finals. But MMA threw out some incredibly creative builds against MVP. Completely threw him off. MVP had no idea what was going to come at him each game.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't have been more impressed with him. I thought MVP was going to possibly 4-1. I mean,
yeah. Oh no, I'll say it. I predicted 4-1 MVP going into it. I was going to give MMA a game, but I totally predicted MVP.
Yeah,
so.
And MMA really impressing. Did some of those mid-map proxy builds. I really liked the one on.
Well, there was the one on Daybreak to start, where he did the proxy. He did proxy barracks, proxy factory, did marine tank in the middle of the map, and then proxied another barracks just to use it for vision and allow his units to actually get vision of the high ground.
Loved it. That build was very, very creative, and super all in, but against MVP style, when your opponent is going to expand super, super fast.
And if MVP ever accumulates more than about 30 Marines, you're just not going to kill more than one of them at a time with Splash Fire. His control is just that good. All right, so let's take a look at this game here. Looks like ParanOid decided to fast expand. No real surprise there. This is Taldra Maltra, of course. He's going for a relatively late Speedling build. Of course, he wants to get out the two Queens first to establish his macro. Nothing too surprising out of Lots either, just a Reactor Hellion expand.
Yeah, pretty standard. He'll probably follow that up with a couple of Raxes. And one thing we've been seeing a lot of the Koreans do lately, and something that I've been doing against Zerg too, is the reactor powering with the factory. They just continually make reactors with the factory and add Raxes in the positions after they finish making the reactor. So you get your tanks a little bit later, but you get your infrastructure to produce like wave after wave of Marines much quicker. Only thing you really need to be careful of is like an early roach push, but that's where the early tech lab comes in. You can get a Marauder out.
It's funny you said that, and I've not really taken stock of that yet or looked for that, but now that you say that, I've seen a bunch of Korean Terrans that are going after that, and they'll just leapfrog the factory back and continue to put down. Yeah, no, it works really well now.
My buddy Natagast, man, he was saying that he has been doing this for months.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for like 6 months, and he was saying that eventually all the Koreans, he's the one who named it reactor powering. Like, I didn't even come up with a name. He was just like, to him, I guess mathematically, it made a lot of sense to cut production for X amount of minutes in order to have like ridiculous amounts of production 2-3 minutes later down the line.
Especially where it's at right now, when people are tending to just fast expand almost in every matchup right now. You're going to be able to buy yourself a few minutes where you're not going to, with proper scouting, of course, and map control, that you're not going to get pushed all that early. So then your infrastructure in the mid game, it makes total sense.
The only real scare is like a super aggressive early roach push, like,
right?
7 or 8 roaches, something like
Which
that.
I actually have seen a few Zergs go with
Same.
lately. Yeah.
I think it's a response to.
Sheth was the first guy that I was watching do it on a regular basis. He actually did it in some of the matches in Team Arena, actually. But, all right. And there it is. Look at this. This
already lifted off the reactor there.
Yep.
Building another one right now. Another Rax.
For that Rax, and I bet you it switches right off that. And we see exactly what you were talking about.
It makes all the sense in the world. It's so good. But it's crazy that, like, they're just now catching on, you know, and I don't know. I love tooting Nadagas' horn. He's a really, really smart player. He just doesn't have the...
At BlizzCon, like... 10 people introduced him to me. Like, we know each other. We talked on a regular basis. And, like, everyone was like, oh, hey, this is Nadagas, by the way. And we're like, yeah.
It's like, we know. It's like, thanks. But, yeah, he's a really smart player. He just doesn't have, like, the technical execution. And, like, his in-game sense sometimes in certain situations is just, like, really poor. Like, he'll attack into a situation where I'm just like, oh, God, no. But his macro is really solid, and his theory crafting is second to none. I really like this wall that's going up at the front here with the bunker. I love the early Marauder, too, just in case of the roaches. I mean, doesn't have to worry about it right now because I don't think there are any on the way, but he just got it anyway.
Yep, there is the Roach Warren up, though, so it could be utilized pretty soon. It looks like he's waiting for some +1 and some upgrades here in a bit, although he may even just end up taking a quick third over at the Destructible Rocks, though. Actually, looking at this, look how many units he's producing for just the 9-minute mark. He's got units going through the air, so his tech is just fine. His upgrades are in place. Stim is done. He's going to Combat Shield, and he's pumping out 5 bio units at a time already.
Yeah, I love it. You can even go further than that and add a 4th Rax and build a 4th reactor with the factory. I mean, there's really no stopping the reactor powering. You can actually go up to a 3rd in-base orbital, which I think we're seeing right here, and then add additional subsequent Raxes after that. I really love what he's doing right now. If he adds 2 or 3 more Raxes after this point, builds more reactors, then his infrastructure coming into the late game will just be ridiculous. And you just have to time it with phases. You add a command center, add production, add a command center, add production. But and he's going to stim and get pretty aggressive here. That's a lot of lings and roaches, though. I don't think he has enough to take that out. He needs to be really, really careful right now.
I like how Paranoid's being very patient, though. I mean, he knew he could have run down there, but his lings would have started spreading out, and Lots has good enough control that he would have been able to kite those Zerglings for a little while with the Hellions and actually done significant damage.
I agree. With only 1 medevac here, it's going to take a really long time for him to totally reinforce. Actually just standing there and eating those Zerglings, but my God, the Marine squad doing quite a bit of damage here. A little bit too much kiting on his part right there. Just a couple Banelings without speed. I'm not sure why.
He could have stood in there and probably taken out another Roach or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that being said, he's already at a supply advantage. His 3rd base is established. He's moved over to siege tank production. He just needs to clear up these rocks down at the bottom left-hand corner. So he has already held back his opponent for quite a while.
Is that a drop going into the main right now that he snuck on the top of the map, top left,
top left. Yeah, there you go.
So, it's just the Hellions. Interesting.
Yeah.
So he's just going to send those Hellions in. I don't see these doing that much. They're pretty low already. The Queen can probably pop off the one in deep red. He may get a few drones, though. You never know. Paranoid might stack up his drones in a way that's just like, and that one fired right when it came down. That's too bad. And it looks like the one in the red will get popped off right away.
Yeah, but he's gotten 4 or 5 kills. 6. Actually continues to move up a little bit. They're going to go down here, but wow,
7,
not
8.
bad.
Not bad at all.
Gets 8 kills on Hellions that had already killed quite a few Zerglings and established map control for the first 8 minutes of the game. So.
And, just thus far, I mean, he's just having a good game.
Yeah.
Nothing's really gone wrong for him. He's hitting all of his timings. He got that little drop done right there. Hasn't taken any damage whatsoever, and now, establishing himself at the 3rd. Needs to be careful here. It looks like Paranoid's setting up for a run-by. If he gets that depot up, oh my goodness. He'll be okay, though, I think. He's got the bunker there, and the rest of his forces are very close nearby, and they're actually going to swoop in from behind here, so not too much damage taken. It depends on how many SCVs he gets here. Only a few, if any.
Yeah, no, he really didn't kill many there. He did kill a few
entire
Marines.
army. Look at the supplies.
That's actually, a 50 supply deficit now? What is he doing to bounce back from this, though? Certainly it can't be expanding, I wouldn't think. He doesn't really have map presence or units out there to be able to safely do that. It would just get shut down very quick with lots dropping. Let's see here, though. Looks like it's just infestors. The pathogen gland's just finishing up, but no infestors on the way quite yet. He has to overproduce a bunch of lings just in case there was a counterattack.
Well, I think Lots is in a very good spot here.
Yeah.
Going into the mid-late game here. I mean, he has his third up and running. Let's take a look at the income tab. See what's going on. Okay, wow, he's actually up on harvesters right now by 7 at the 14-minute mark. Paranoid's going to have to come up huge here. He needs to make something happen. He certainly needs a big victory. A tank out in the open there could get picked off. I'm not sure why he's not taking that. There we go. He does take the bait, but he needs to get out of there.
Yeah, and he's going to run back home while he does actually expand. There we have it. Base coming up in the top left-hand corner. He's swinging back in with those lings, but they run into a wall of units protected by medevacs.
Paranoid just can't catch a break, man.
No, he really can't.
He's trying to loop around for a potential counterattack. There's a gigantic push from Lots coming across the middle of the map at this time in the game. I mean, what does Paranoid have to deal with this? He's got some mutas on the way. I see some units at his rally point. I don't know what exactly he has. It's just purely lings right now. He does have some banelings. Speed is almost done.
Paranoid's decision-making, with the exception of the Roach Ling push that went through the wall, I don't think it's been all that bad this game. Lots has just straight up outplayed him.
Yeah, that's a fact. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think he can hold this. I think he's going to lose his fourth here. Yep. And then I think Lots is just going to continue to have his way with him. And it looks like Paranoid gearing up for a huge counter here. But no, he actually pulls back about halfway there. And oh no, he's going to have to pull back those units all the way from that position there. And Lots actually not choosing to push right there. I think that would have been a great opportunity, but obviously he didn't know.
The creep spread's not out to hear anything like that, so I think he could have done some very real damage, or at least sieged up some tanks and pressed forward with a pack of Marines.
I think he could have just killed him.
Saw what was going on. I agree. I'm just saying that, I think, though, that he could have been just a tiny bit more aggressive than he was.
Well, now, Paranoid may have an opportunity here. Oh, God, and there's a Marine already in position waiting for that potential remake of the fourth. And that Marine instantly scouts it, starts picking away at that hatchery. Huge counterattack coming in here for Paranoid. He actually kind of stops himself outside the ramp there. He might be able to get in. Is the depot going to go up at the natural? No, he does not get that up. He doesn't get the depot up at the main either.
Is Lots going to have to pull back home if he...
Oh, my goodness.
Forced to stem twice in addition to that.
Oh, this is purely he's going to lose all his SCVs at the natural. This is changing the landscape of this game.
Paranoid may have just found his way back, especially if he can camp a couple of these unit-producing structures. Look at this infrastructure. Lots, for being on 3 base, actually doesn't have that many barracks. He was relying on his reactors and add-ons, and he's just lost a vast majority of his infrastructure. Now those Marines down to just 25 points of health apiece.
Oh, God. Get the racks. It might burn down. It looks like it actually will.
Yeah.
I don't think an SCV can get over there in time. Oh, my God. SCV's coming in now. Are they going to repair?
They're just trying to run away for now. Another Rax goes down.
He might lose the reactor, too. This is devastating for Lots. What a well-timed counterattack right there from Paranoid. Very impressive. Can he make enough units and enough banelings to really get himself back in this? What's the income tab looking like now?
And 44 workers to 52. So Paranoid lost a few of his own. It looks like putting up structures and due to that last little push. But that being said, more banelings coming up. The Zerglings are in place. Paranoid actually is sitting on pretty good tech too because he has the infestation pit done. He has not chosen to go to Hive quite yet.
And he hasn't made any infestors either.
He picks off a drop.
Doesn't get much better than that. Talk about a turn of events here.
I
felt like Lots was way ahead in this game, and now it's
imagine what would have happened if he had pushed that third like we were talking about before.
It would have just been game outright. Or even maybe forced a base trade situation.
Sure,
I mean,
of course.
Not
having to retreat your units from being on the verge of attacking all the way back home, stimming 3 times, and that. So a lot of those Marines aren't even healed up yet.
And now it's just total chaos for Lots. I mean, he's scrambling to get his infrastructure back together. If he even can. What's he going to be able to do here? He is trying to grab a 4th right now. If Lots can grab a 4th, well before this 5th goes up for Paranoid and he gets it saturated without taking too much damage, I think he'll be in a much better spot. But floating 1,300 right now, he just can't produce any units. He doesn't have enough Raxes.
He did put up 3 more racks, but of course they don't have add-ons. There's no reactor sitting on them, so it's 1 Marine at a time. But he is transitioning over to Thors, and pretty heavy Thors at that. He produced 2 right away, and those factories are actually sitting unused at the moment. And those Mutalisks, I think, could have taken down those 2 missile turrets.
They probably could have, and all those SCVs with them.
Lots was way out of position, so...
Oh, and look at those Collector's Edition Thors.
Short stuff. You know what you're doing.
Oh, a couple of mutas, or one muta just gets popped off from the flock. Later, guys. It's not going to make the migration back. And
you know what, though? Paranoid, I don't think is pushing as far ahead as I think he could have. I think he was in a position. I mean, he did take 2 bases, but it took forever to saturate them.
Yeah, Lots
is not utilized their production yet.
Lots' army is starting to get scary at this point. And Paranoid has a lot of money and supply invested in Mutalisks right now, and Mutalisks really just aren't the best fighting unit. They're actually terrible. They're just really good at harass, but he's done so much harassment damage. But now having Marines in position with turrets to guard the infrastructure, fighting some Lings there with tanks, that was an interesting little situation. I'm surprised he didn't try and surround the tanks there.
I think he could have done some damage. Force those Marines to stim one more time.
And Lings at this point are pretty expendable. I mean,
he does clean up the drop, though.
Yeah, he will hold on to that 4th.
Yeah, let's see if Lots actually wants to push, and it looks like he does. Wow, he's sieging way outside, and that's actually going to trap most of this army. That could be very, very bad. Nice job there, actually. Lots going ahead and dropping individually on those Banelings, making sure his Marines were super, super cost-effective, even if that drop was going to get cleaned up. But he's making a strong push here over at the right-hand side.
Oh my God.
Oh, but he scans for him. The money scan.
That was certainly a money scan.
Yeah.
That could have been disastrous for him. That would have been a Paranoid 2.0 maneuver getting back in this game. Back-to-back, the counterattack followed by the Baneling Bomb. And it looks like he's going to go for that tried-and-true counterattack one more time.
Yeah.
And can he get the depots up?
Boy.
Oh, this time he's been macroing back at home. Good luck with that counterattack. He has a full army, full legion.
I'm going to invite you to run it. I don't care that my depots aren't up.
An entire legion of my finest troops awaits you.
Oh, let's see if Lots wants to continue to be aggressive. It looks like he does, and he is just reinforcing. Look how many Marines he's reinforcing with right now. It's a veritable river of units coming up. Paranoid
veritable river.
Veritable river.
Observe.
You heard me.
Slime.
Mutalisks are going to run away, though, because they're like, yeah, no way in hell I'm going to go ahead and engage that army. 3-3 coming up, but at the same time we see adrenal glands, so...
Those 2 Thors just are so intimidating. When I'm in this position as a Terran and he has a giant flock of mutas like that, the 2 Thors just change everything.
Yeah.
They give you so much more like zone control with your army, and the mutas can't really float in and out and pick off individual tanks. They have to be so much more careful because every time they come in, they just eat a Thor volley to the face. So I really love the addition of the 2 Thors here. I think that's been helping him out a lot. And then, keeping a few units over there, denying that expansion. Here we go. The big battle looks like it's about... No, the mutas are just floating in and out. Is he going to go for another counter here?
Looks like he just wants to clean up the siege tanks, maybe. But yeah, no, a counter may be his best bet because now Lots has completely outplayed him into this once again. I mean, Lots is up by 20 supply. He's got the better infrastructure. He's probably going to be taking a 5th base here in a bit. He's been continually denying Paranoid's expansions, but it looks like Lots is going to run home.
Oh my God, he's actually going to turn all the way around. Tons of Banelings being used right there on the wall and on the siege tanks. SCVs running for their lives into the main. Can he get the depot up? No, he can't get the wall up. Going to lose all these SCVs, but does he really want to be wasting the Banelings here? I mean, what is he killing with these Banelings? And now he's going to run the Banelings into the main army that's coming back from the front. Can he get a big fungal off? Oh, wow.
Actually, no energy left. So the Banelings did pretty well.
Marines getting killed there.
Yeah, Banelings did pretty well. It's going to make sure that these Mutalisks are actually going to be able to run it against a lot of these units if he magic boxes.
And he's going to kill his infrastructure once again.
So Paranoid.
There's a drop going off at the natural for Lots right now.
Let's see here. Oh, sorry, over at the natural. There we go. Fungal goes down. It looks like it's going to clean up most of those units. Yeah, it looks like these Mutalisks are running away. Not too much anti-air there, but I guess there's about 1 medevac for every Marine that's there, and that plus 2 Thors is going to be enough to deter him. Another base coming up down along the 6 o'clock position, and it looks like Lots is going to fly a command center down to the bottom right.
So Lots, or short stuff, should I say, going to take a 5th base here. Is he up on SCVs right now?
Let's take a look at the units tab. 56 drones to 49 SCVs.
Close enough. He's muling off of 2 orbitals as well.
Yes.
Probably going to get a PF here in the bottom right, which is not going to be good for Paranoid because he's also taking the bottom right natural. So that gives Lots the ability to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He can defend his bottom right 5th, and he can kill that natural expansion that he's just scouted.
Yep.
So he's probably going to send some forces over there immediately.
Ooh,
ouch.
That's picked off by Paranoid,
What's
though.
that, like the 3rd, 4th time this game a full dropship has been picked off?
Yeah. Paranoid's done a good job with that at the very least, but, well, actually, if you can get these mutas down here to the bottom right and actually pick off this command center, there's only drones moving over, though. Oh, well, I guess that was just SCVs at the same time, but we're going to need to see some Zerglings or something to help protect this base. Otherwise, Lots is going to be able to crush that. And actually on 4 Thors now, with a 5th just popping up. Make that a 6th.
That's a lot of Thors.
Yeah.
That's so much hit points and damage, and it's like he's converting into almost pure mech here in the late game, and I can't fault him for it. His army is just going to be ridiculously strong at this point. These turrets aren't going to be able to cover the gas, so he will lose that gas, but you know, at the same time, well, he did get the command center as well with those mutas.
They both basically denied their next expansion, so... And they're both running low on resources. This poor Marine's actually going to kill a couple of units. No, Zergling's running in. And that is protected once again. Let's take a look at the units tab. 6 Thors, 8 tanks, 26 Marines, and now a couple of ghosts. They're supported by those medevacs. But really not much of a frontline engagement force for Paranoid. He's only got a few infestors out there. Just a handful of Zerglings, really, and that huge flock of mutas.
Yeah, and that huge flock of mutas is very susceptible to the unit composition we see here from Lots. I mean, ghosts, snipe, just a handful of Marines with enough medevac support for almost 1 medevac per 2 Marines. I mean, it's perfect for anti-Mutalisk. And here he comes in with his Muta squad. Gotta be so careful. Just 1 volley from all those Thors is gonna just make mincemeat of the entire flock. And here we have Lots moving into position once again to deny the 4th, and that's all Paranoid has going for him right now, so I don't think another counterattack is really an option here. The Ghosts getting caught a little off guard. EMPs do go down on most of the infestors. Oh, dear God.
The fungal growths don't go off on anything but a couple of Thors, though, and the Thors are going to be able to resist that quite well. So now Lots is going to be able to re-deny this expansion at the top left. There's no question about that.
Not looking good for Paranoid.
Wait a second. Does Lots know about the expansion down at the bottom right? Not yet, but it looks like Paranoid is just going to go ahead and attack with these mutas. Has so much damage, and wow, that's a lot of SCVs that are about to go down. We have a total of 100 workers killed this game.
Yeah, we certainly do. The 4th goes down for both players, it looks like, but that Mutalisk squad is not going to be able to kill this squad of units that's particularly engineered for anti-Mutalisk, although he might be able to kill a lot of these tanks here, and if he can get rid of all the tanks...
Yeah, the tanks are what's really scary here, because then he can flood in Lings after that and start going after the Thors.
Exactly, and he can hit the Thors with the Mutalisks and Zerglings at the same time.
But he doesn't have money.
Yeah, he doesn't have the bank.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the bank.
That's 3 banelings coming up. And
great move if he had the bankroll to back that up with some actual unit production. Now, still making a game of it, though, with all these counters.
Oh, he really is. Let's take a look at the worker count, though. You've got to also subtract the worker supply or the worker difference out of the overall supply as well. So Lots' army is actually much, much bigger than Paranoid's. Here comes Paranoid, though. He's just got to hope he can just start picking off reinforcements and establish a base somewhere, which it looks like the bottom right-hand corner is where he's going to start. And given the fact that Lots just is not flat out mining, maybe he can stall long enough and get up a big enough force to actually start pulling back into a decent frontline engagement.
I mean, it certainly is a possibility. Oh, both these medevacs going to get picked off here. That's a nice little come up for Paranoid.
Yeah.
He really needs to keep this Mutalisk force alive. He has to watch out for that mech ball. Cannot engage right now. Needs to pick his battles very carefully. He's also distance mining from the natural here.
He's oversaturated there. Might as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And he's just got to get as many Lings out as he possibly can.
Yeah, he's only got 22, but he's got so many. Well, not so many resources, but he's got enough resources.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, God, get away with those.
There goes 4 mutas.
He's got enough resources, though, that he should just be. I mean, he's got larvae sitting around, too.
He's saving for Broodlords or what?
Possibly. He has Greater Spire, but he needs something, anything. Come on. I mean, like, at this point,
spend your money.
He's just accumulating resources. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, because
and the scan reveals more drones headed to the bottom right.
I really feel that he can make a game out of this, though. I mean, this is Lots' only mining is that base he's sending down to the bottom right, which is easily counterable by the mutas. He's making another 5 mutas, though. That's where all his resources went to, and there's no way he's going to be able to fight a straight line engagement.
Oh, it's foolish. It's foolish. I don't think his mutas are going to be able to win a straight-up fight with that unit composition. And he invested in a lot of spine crawlers in bottom right, it looks like.
Ooh, that is a lot of Marines and Ghosts that are heading out as well. Yeah, 3 spine crawlers coming up, as you mentioned. It looks like the Marines are going to head over that way. At the same time, the Thors are going to push through the natural and start taking out some of the tech.
Oh, dear. All right, well, looks like I think we have our imminent conclusion here.
No! Oh, wow. That's actually so many mutas lost. ParanOid just straight up GG's.
I don't think that mutas were the right choice there in the late game.
I agree with you 100%.
I think he just needed to flood with lings and try and get a favorable engage on that big army.
Right here. Okay, if we rewind a little bit, I don't remember the exact time. This is a long game, so I'm just going to point to it. But there was, 12 tanks right there. There was 6 Thors behind and a handful of Marines. Banelings come in, are super cost-effective, kill a ton of not just Marines, but also a bunch of tanks as well. He's down to 2 tanks and just the Thors. If at that point he floods in those lings like you're talking about.
Bankroll.
Right, but Lots never pushed it. He decided to turn away, and it gave a lot of time for ParanOid to try and get himself back into it. But spending all that money on those continued muta production,
and the spine crawlers in the bottom right, I don't think that defending the bottom right was really even an option.
Right
at that point, it was just getting you as much money as you can to get whatever you can to work with in the late game there. If in the event that you're going to lose that, you're going to lose it anyway. I don't think 3 spine crawlers are going to be the difference at that point in the game when you're working with 150 supply of almost pure Thor Marine medevac tank. I mean,
all right. Well, there we have game number 1, folks. Slayers goes up 1-0 in the set. We're going to head to game number 2 in just a second.